Good evening and welcome to the ZBA meeting. Tonight is September 8th at 7 p.m. and I would like to call the meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have a quorum. We have one member absent tonight, Mr. McGuire. We do have a public hearing tonight, so I'm going to read that for the record. Please take notice pursuant to Section 267 of the Town Law, Section 104 of the Public Officers Law in the Town of Queens Zoning Ordinance. The Planning Board Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing at the Town Hall, 18 Russell Avenue, Ravena, New York at 7 p.m. on September 8th, 2025. Please note said hearing may be adjourned from time to time as necessary. This public hearing is for a site plan review for the Queens PV LLC. It's an application for a site plan review on the property owned by Joyce Maxton. The property is located at 1304 to 1322 State Route 143, tax map number 166-2-3.11. And it is also for a special use permit, also for Queens PV, located at the same address. Also tax map 166.2-3-11. So I would like to make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So that is open right now. Going off of our agenda, we're going to go to the minutes from our last meeting. They were emailed to us and they're also in your blue folder. Did everyone have a chance to look them over? Any questions in reference to last meeting?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the August 27th meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. So that public hearing is open. Just to explain to everyone that's present, you will have 3 minutes to come up to the podium and speak on behalf of the notice that you may have received. We do have a timekeeper. We ask that you state your name and your address, please. I would like to ask the applicant to come up to the podium just to explain what this public hearing is for a little bit for the public.
Sure. So I do have a printed PowerPoint presentation. I can share with most people.
Yeah. See how you make out, because I can share. Okay. You can hear me? Can I get a couple?
Yeah, that other folder there. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Copy, please.
He wants one too. Thank you, Jane.
Everyone get one? So I figured going through this presentation kind of answers a lot of questions that we kind of get from the public generally, and just kind of going over high-level project details. So first of all, my name is Jeremy Kaufman. I'm a project manager in development at RAC Energy. With me today is Bill Anterline. He's our engineer at Wendell. And soon to be joining a little late is Alexa Marinos, who is our environmental permitting manager at RAC. So a little background into what our company is. RAC Energy is a global renewable energy company. We're in the US. We focus primarily on community solar projects throughout the state of New York. We are headquartered in New York State, and we've been in the US for over 13 years. The project applicant here is Queens PV LLC. and the project name is Queenman Solar. So this solar project is located off of State Route 143. It has a total project area or limit of disturbance of 10.59 acres with a total project capacity of 1.5 megawatts AC. So the project description, it is a community solar project. And one of the key benefits of this project is due to the topography and the dense natural screening, particularly the north, east, and west of the project, and in addition to our proposed vegetative screening off of the state route, it's ensured that there's as limited of a visual impact as possible. So no one should be able to see this project in nearby residents, driving or walking along the main roads. And the sliver of areas where you could potentially see it, we guarantee that you can't with the proposed buffer. And all electric lines within the project area will be underground. The only exception is for a section crossing the Enterprise Products pipeline to comply with the regulations for a crossing agreement. And you can kind of see where that is between the two solar arrays, where it breaks out into a smaller section of arrays. And then one other thing to note is within the project, it's all underground. At the entrance, there are a few overhead poles, and that is required by the utility Central Hudson. Limited visual impact overall. And then to dive into, I guess, what goes into these solar energy systems exactly, and a little bit of the technology. So we do use silicon photovoltaic cells. These are placed on top of a single axis tracker. This essentially means that the arrays follow the sun throughout the day, which just optimizes energy generation. And it has the added benefit of, in addition to the anti-reflective glass, which very effectively limits glare, this, as it follows the sun, the sunlight is always pointing directly back into the sun and nowhere else, unlike, I guess, a lake, for example, or something like that, where you can get some pretty solid glare because it's just reflecting right at you. We also use bifacial panels, which means that we're not only capturing energy directly from the sun, but also what's reflected off the surface on the other side of the panels, just further enhancing the energy generation. All solar equipment will be under 12 feet tall. And then to the next page, so the materials, and something we see a lot come up, but it's aluminum glass, EVA, which is essentially a plastic. The example I have here is it's food grade and used in Crocs and mouth guards, and silicon, which is the second most common element and used in everyday food, wheat, oats, barley, and rice. Which brings me to the next point. So we see this come up a decent amount. Is groundwater at risk? Could there be contamination or anything like that could seep into drinking water or water used for farms? For that to happen, you would need a material to be toxic and liquid or water soluble. Aluminum, glass, EVA, and silicon are not toxic, they're not liquid, and they're not soluble. So from a scientific standpoint, it just there's no toxic chemicals to leach into the groundwater. This is confirmed by testing that the EPA does, called toxicity characteristic leaching procedure, to confirm that no harmful substances will release into the groundwater. The next page is just about the solar project's compliance with the solar law, the Town of Queenman solar law, just showing that we are in full compliance with everything, with the visual impact assessment to ensure that we're paying attention to the visual impact to neighbors. There will be a fence around the solar project. We have very minimal tree cutting, and we have submitted a decommissioning plan, operation and maintenance plan, and stormwater protection plan. And then to get into the visual impact assessment, so the way this was done is we pinpoint the areas that could have the highest potential for someone seeing the project, and we do a line of sight analysis and photographs in line with that to show that show what it currently looks like, and then to show what proposed screening in some areas would look like to prevent any visual impact. So there's 1, 2, and 3. 1 and 2 are both off of the state route, 143, and then 3 is on Blodgett Hill Road. So 1 is essentially the driveway entrance, and you can already see the significant natural screening that's already there. The next picture will really just show you what those required overhead utility poles will look like. And then that vegetative buffer that we put in place limits any visual impact to the project itself. 2 is a little bit north, still showing that access road, but also more showing the trees in the surrounding area off of 143. And then 3 is Blodgett Hill Road, which goes uphill, I believe, slightly. And you can just see even with that, given the maturity of these trees, there's just no way you can see the project or any part of this property from this viewpoint. And then decommissioning is another big piece. So Queen LLC is responsible to restore the land back to its current condition. The important thing to note here is we ensure that can happen at any point in the project's life. We obviously would do it at the end of the project's life, but if in any worst case scenario, we post a bond or another acceptable form of surety, that also accounts for inflation and is certified by a professional engineer to ensure that it can be adequately decommissioned properly at any time. Now, some of the community solar project benefits. So for anyone who doesn't know about community solar, essentially it allows local homeowners and business owners the opportunity to subscribe or benefit from a local solar project without needing one directly in your backyard or panels on your rooftop. So you do this by subscribing to this program where you can see up to 10% discount off your annual electricity bills. So nice little, way, a nice little personal benefit and a way to contribute to this renewable energy project without directly having one. So the other nice thing about this is we always are proud to hire locally for construction and operation and maintenance jobs. It does not require any town, county, or state resources. We fully fund this, and the project's not visible off-site. It does not displace active farmland. Currently, it's really just an open field that has no other use at this time except for the landowners living at the house off the state route, and it improves grid resiliency. So, thank you.
Does anyone on the board have any questions for Jeremy?
Jeremy, you guys will do the construction, correct? Who does the construction?
We hire a construction contractor.
So your job is to get the permit,
Yes.
and then you sub out the rest of it? Who actually is gonna maintain the power? Who's gonna monitor the power? You sub that out?
So, with our operation and maintenance agreement, Bill, you may be able to speak to this a little better, but there are on-site meters that constantly track any issues that may come up. We also, I believe, would make like an annual site visit and make sure everything's okay and snowfall and.
No, I think you misunderstood. So you get the permit, and you're done. Who takes it from there?
Well, we would coordinate financing and then finding a contractor to build the project and get the building permit and.
So you sell the permit to someone to go ahead and do it. And then when the power is being monitored, who does all that? Where is that taken care of? Maryland, Virginia?
That'd be through your headquarters, it's all wireless. So the headquarters is in New York City.
So you are gonna monitor everything?
Throughout the life of the project, yeah.
You, if I can speak for Rick,
Can you just move closer to the podium? Sorry. Thank you. And state your name too.
Sure. Bill Anterline from Wendell Companies, Anterline. So I think I know where you're going with the question. Rick does have monitoring, but it does end up being a third party that they contract out that will be the monitor themselves. That way, it allows for somebody closer to the project site to actually be here. Because there's several contractors throughout the state, throughout the country, but also throughout the state that are within different areas throughout the state that are closer to the project than say Rick Energy would be. So if there is an issue, they can get out there quicker as well. Is that where you were going? Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So who's gonna own the project? Whose project is it gonna be?
It still stays with the developer. That, it's just that they're basically subcontracting the monitoring to someone that has a closer proximity to the project. But
Okay,
it's still owned by the developer.
Same thing with the construction company, it's a contractor.
Anyone else have any other questions?
I'd like to say something.
I'll open it up to a public hearing in 1 second. Okay, thank you. My question to you, you just mentioned that you plan on having local companies. Have you looked into local companies? But if you're gonna be subbing this out, are you gonna have a contract with them to go to local companies first?
Yeah, I mean, it's in everyone's interest to do that. It's much easier with someone local. And I don't know exactly how it works, but I understand that there's a bidding process. So they may find, a few different local contractors and go through that process and pick one of them. But it's not exactly incentivizing to, pick someone in Buffalo or something. It's in everyone's interest to pick someone locally.
No, but I would just like to ask our council a question. If this, depending on where this ended up, Mr. Kennery, is that something that could be a condition, that if it was bidded out, it was bidded out, local companies?
I don't know that this board would typically have that as a condition. I mean, you can take that as a representation from the applicant, but I don't know that from this board's perspective, that would be a condition.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have a question for Jeremy?
Yeah, but a cemetery, Jeremy, you're not gonna put anything in front of it then? You're just gonna be two sides of it? You're not gonna wrap it around?
We're going to adhere to that buffer that SHPO requested, which includes this 25 feet.
Correct?
Construction fencing, and we would only be, it would only be, the panels would be in front of it and then to the side. So,
Would be a side and a back.
yeah, it would be,
The north and the east.
that is north and east, yeah, that is flipped.
But isn't all the power going out to three-phase on the line?
Yeah.
So how can homeowners and business owners hook on that?
It goes to the grid, and then there's a third party who sets up this subscription, I guess kind of in partnership with the utility. They still issue their typical billing, but they give a discount for that bill. So it all goes through the utility, and then that subscription's handled with a third party, essentially.
And we talked about last time, right? Cash, not a bond, right? For the
That
decommission.
is, Mr. Collins, that is our recommendation. I think that the applicant has identified counsel at this point as a person for us to dialogue with, but yes, that remains our recommendation.
City of Albany Water Department.
Yeah, so still waiting for the agreement for execution from their attorney. But I would say it's very good news and we're all concerned since the Albany Water Board approved the chairman to issue this agreement. So that's basically an approval. We just need, the formal agreement.
Anyone else on the board have anything else to say? Thank you, Jeremy, for presenting that. At this point, we will allow the public to come up to the podium. We do ask that you keep it to about a 3-minute minimum, and state your name and your address, please.
My name's Paul Caswell. I live across from the proposed position. My one concern is, well, I had two concerns. First of all, I want to say, which isn't my business, but don't say the land isn't being used. The land is a farm. It was an original farm, but for several years now, there's a farmer has been keeping it paid. So it is used. I'm not concerned about that, but just for the record. My concern is, where are you coming with the power? We're on 143. I live across from it. I have an historical home, and I'm just wondering, where are these poles coming down through the hill? Where are you hooking in?
Mr. Caswell, if you can address your questions to the board,
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
no, don't apologize, and then we will try to get all of these answers for you.
I'm just concerned where they're gonna hook up. Now, like, right across from me, my power line from my home goes across the street, and there's a pole there on Maxtedt's property. But it's all woods across from
You know
me.
where the county building is, the old shack?
Right?
There's a road right there, it goes up to the field where they logged.
So is
That's
that-
where the
Then they're
pole
gonna
come down.
cross the road onto the next pot?
Not according to the,
Where are they gonna hook in?
they're gonna stop on that side of, on the north side of 143. You ain't coming across the road according to the picture, right?
Well, that's the only thing. The pole comes from the church on that side of the road, and Lonsberry's, and then it crosses over. And the next pole is on Maxtedt, but it's in front of me.
I don't believe there's any poles crossing, is there?
We do cross
There's a
140.
pole though, or just a wire?
It's an existing pole that we're connecting to that's across the street, so the wire crosses the street.
Just the wire crosses
So
the
you're
street.
crossing there between me and Lonsberry.
Mr. Caswell, what was your address?
Huh?
What was your address?
1327 State Route 143.
Thank you.
That's my only concern. I'm not concerned about, as somebody said to me, it'd be better that than a housing development in there. Would it be? I don't know, but I don't care, because as long as I can, as long as they're not cutting all that down where I'm gonna be, and my main concern was where the pole's gonna be hooked in on 143. So if that's where they're going in, there's lines that come from that public building anyway, right over there. That's all.
Thank
I'm
you.
not stop anything that's probably good in the long run.
Thank you, Mr. Caswell.
Thank you.
And Jeremy, you have maps with you and stuff.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Caswell, at the end, if you would like him to show you specifically on his maps, would you be willing to do that also? Okay, just to get a clearer picture of the image. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak on behalf of this for the public hearing?
Good evening, board. My name is Danny Baker. I'm a resident, and I'm also, as you guys are well aware, of the highway superintendent. I sit right across from the project from the Maxteds, right next to the church, right next to the Caswells. I do support the project. I just have a couple concerns. When the construction is going on, I would like to see it only during Monday through Friday. Like I said, the church is there, Caswells, they're there. I would hate to see stuff going on Saturdays and Sundays. Just to limit that, you know, for the people that are around it. I would also like to see, and then in the rendering, it shows stone going up to the project. We want to make sure that that's maintained. We want to limit the amount of dirt and dust that's coming out onto the road. The other question I have is, again, I sit there year round, you can see up to the field when the leaves come on. So the buffer is very important for the view shed. So would it be like 10 or 12 feet high, you think, that buffer? You can't see it, would the buffer be 10 feet high?
The existing buffer, or are you talking
No,
about?
the one you guys are gonna build.
The proposed buffer goes in at 8 feet.
Okay.
Because if you try to transplant trees that are bigger than that, your rate of failure increases. They won't last, they'll die.
Okay.
So it starts at 8 feet, and then they're mostly evergreen, so it grows quickly and straight up.
Gotcha. And is there any, I'm not sure which way the power goes, but does the power go 143 or up Blodgett? Is there any way to connect to Blodgett so that the poles aren't right there and?
I don't think three-phase goes up Blodgett, does it?
No. No.
For sure, but not
Okay.
likely.
Yeah, I don't think.
Okay. Yeah, so, again, if we limit the, the contractors, we put in a nice stone road. I know there's a cemetery up there. We should be doing everything we can to put a fence around the cemetery, make sure there's access to that cemetery. Again, we all know how we feel about cemeteries. They're our loved ones. If somebody wants to go access that, there should be clear, easy access to get to the cemetery. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak in reference to this project? Okay. I'll keep the public hearing open for the remainder of the meeting if the board is comfortable with that. We have not heard from county, so this board can't act on anything. We're still waiting to hear from the water board. I think you're aware that this board, we need that. Does the board have anything else to add to this? Okay. So we'll move on to what is next on our agenda. We have no new business. We can't do anything with the lot line adjustment for tonight. And Jason, you had spoken to the applicant for that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe the same thing for the special use permit for Mr. and Mrs. Horner. We're not doing anything with that either.
We get that back from county, right?
Did you get that back from county?
No, because that was sent on September 2nd.
Is there anyone here on behalf of that? Yes. Right.
Good evening, Lauren Horner. We are here this evening, and I understand that there's really nothing that can be done because we're still waiting for county. But Mr. Baker is here, and we did speak to him. My understanding is he has also spoken to ING, and believe he's ready and willing to speak tonight as well. So if that's something.
Absolutely. Yeah, Mr. Baker.
So yeah, I did go out to see the property at Mr. Horner's. We walked the property. Mr. Horner indicated that we need to maintain the road that goes in and out off of Old Ravena Road. Again, same type of concern, right? We don't want any dust, and we don't want any mud, we don't want anything being tracked down to the road. We really want to do this project and not interfere with the people that live on the road as much as we can. Well, the Horners were fully cooperation with that. I did speak with Eric Fancher from ING Civil. He's the superintendent of he's the contractor doing the job. And he assured me they're only gonna run 2 trucks. And he said, I'll do whatever it takes. He's gonna put a bulldozer down there. And he's also gonna help make sure that the road is kept up in the best condition. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no issues there, no problems whatsoever. Okay? Anything else? The site looks good. It's gonna take material good. I don't see any issues whatsoever.
Thank you. So we'll discuss that more when we hear back from county, and we also scheduled a public hearing for that. So we'll discuss that more. Next on our agenda, we had an appeal. Mark and Michelle Dorsey, this was an appeal for the denied application for a change of occupancy on the property owned by Mark and Michelle Dorsey. This property is located at 880 Bridge Street, tax map number 131.4-12.1. Just a little bit of history on there. The Dorseys were here a couple of weeks ago. They spoke on behalf of their project. They had requested to have their attorney present, and that would,
May I speak, Madam Chairman?
yes?
I'm gonna recluse myself from this project. There's a bordering neighbor. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Terrell would like to recuse himself. Thank you. At our last meeting, Mr. and Mrs. Dorsey requested for us to continue with this. We had heard from the applicants as far as they want to appeal it. Mr. Chmielewski was unable to attend the meeting when we discussed it, so we were not able to hear from you. So at this point, the board would like to hear from you in reference to the denial.
Everybody's got my letter, right?
Yep.
Go over it. All right, this is my response letter from what Mr. and Mrs. Dorsey submitted. Page 1, paragraph 4, the definition of agritourism. My response is you have to disregard that definition of agritourism. The focus of the denied building permit application is due to zoning. Town Code, Chapter 165, Attachment 5, Schedule of District Zoning Regulations. This is a change of occupancy in a non-conforming use to the RA zone. Page 2, paragraph 2, venue is stated twice in this paragraph, and examples for the use of this pre-existing building. These examples are classified as an assembly. Page 2, paragraph 4, I will quote their sentence. It is just not changing the use to a banquet hall, but rather converting a space that already exists to host events, to support and develop agricultural awareness in our community. This is an alteration. Town Code, Chapter 165.3 in the definitions. Page 2, paragraph 5, sentence 2. This statement is null and void. Page 3, paragraph 1. Am I going too fast for everybody? Okay.
No, I'm good, yep.
Thank you.
Agritourism Event Center is stated, which is an assembly. Page 3, paragraph 4, last sentence states, what we are looking to do is extend our occupancy, which is an assembly. 2020 New York State Building Code, Chapter 3, occupancy classification and use. Section 303.3, Assembly Group A2. Group A2 occupancy includes assembly uses intended for food or drink consumption, including but not limited to banquet halls, casinos, nightclubs, restaurants, taverns, and bars. These prints that the building department has received from Mr. Dorsey depict a banquet hall and a bar room. Members of the board, this focus of this denied building permit application is due to a non-conforming use of a pre-existing building. Chapter 165, the Schedule of Districts for the RA. Banquet hall or bar is not listed in the RA zone for any uses. If the applicant wants to proceed any further with this project, which is roughly 50% complete without a building permit, a use variance application shall be completed, then reviewed by you board members. A stop work order is still in place for this building, a violation of Town Code, Chapter 71-4, building permits. In conclusion of Mr. and Mrs. Dorsey's appeal, I have pointed out key points of this letter submitted by the applicants to validate the denied building permit application. The change of an occupancy class of a U, or barn, to an assembly A2 is a non-conforming use for the RA zone according to the town code.
Does anyone on the board have any questions for Mr. Sheen? Thank you.
When did you put the stop order on, Jason?
I'd have to get that big file. I have Mr. Collins back in my office. It's been a while.
I don't know if that was in the note. And just to bring the board up to speed, I don't know if anyone saw, we received an email from Mr. Dorsey from their attorney. That did come through mid-afternoon today. I didn't get it till late afternoon, and I did ask Jason to put a hard copy of the letter in everyone's folder. I know you may not have had enough time to go through all of that. I had one question for the applicant, if you guys would like to come up to the podium. I guess I'm just a little, my question to you is, the letter that we received from your attorney, on the bottom of it, it stated, on the building permit application form, the Dorseys indicated that the improvements were related to a change of occupancy. There was also some confusion about the use of the property as a banquet hall. Both of these statements were inadvertent mistakes on their part, which the Dorseys would like to correct. I mean, I guess from the board's stance, the application that you guys had filed was for that use. And the map that we looked at today states banquet hall on it. So we did change that.
Event center, banquet hall, venue, it's all the same. There's not much, it's wording.
Can I clarify something for you guys for a second?
Yeah.
Because it states here, the use of the property as a banquet hall. It's not the total property as a banquet hall. It's just this pre-existing building.
Structures that are already there.
Yes.
Doesn't go into the realm of the code.
No, they're saying.
What they want is not within our
They're saying the
codes.
use of the property in a whole is not a banquet hall. We're just talking about just one building.
The barn. That
They used to host events. So when it was a veterinarian clinic and a hospital, they hosted events, they had colleges there, they had internships going on, they hosted classes in regards to embryo transplants, what they used to do at the property. So again, we're just building something that is the exact same that was there before, just different.
Well, to be fair, the prints that we had looked at, it's not a barn.
100% a Morton barn that was approved 30 years ago.
Inside of it is a bar.
Structure is a barn. It could be the most beautiful horse barn you ever seen. So right now, under ag and markets, I don't need a permit to do anything at our farm for any of the buildings. It still falls under ag and markets. So if I want to put chandeliers in my barn, I can put chandeliers in it. I don't need a permit for that. Because we fall under ag and markets. The code, building code, it says right in the building code. 305A says what we can do, where we are exempt from permits as long as it's for a farm. So right now, we are still a farm, right? So it's the nicest horse barn you've probably ever seen, but we'd like to change that so we can fall under ag and tourism and do farm table events and most other kind of things for farming.
Does anyone on the board have any questions for Mr. and Mrs. Dorsey?
I still don't get what a farm has to do with tourism and people and venues and because the governor has taken action to support agriculture industry and agritourism, which does that have to do with them not?
Mr. Sinkyo, as I stated before, yes, they explained what the definition of agritourism is, but that's not the case of what we're looking at.
It's not conforming to.
I denied the permit for the change of occupancy, yes. So agritourism,
So if the code's the code. and
Right.
That's the way it
has
is.
nothing to do with the,
I'm tending to lean to think that way.
And I'm getting to get to the agritourism part, you have to get the permit to get there is, but it's not conforming to our town code, so is what this case is about. So I guess as far as the board goes, in order for us to proceed, council, this has to go to county?
It does.
239, we have to.
There's also a public hearing requirement, and I would say, Madam Chairwoman, respectfully, the board should consider seeker. Generally, what we do is we consider an interpretation and appeal of this nature as a type 2 action, exempt from review. And I think there was an EAF filed. Just want to make sure that there should be.
Do you have that on file? Do you recall doing that?
no, there is no EAF on file.
For what now?
The appeal.
So you would have to fill out an EAF, which is an environmental assessment form to show if it has any kind of impact on the environment. That would come from them. I'm sorry?
It already exists.
We were speaking with our attorney about this. He said that he didn't think that any of that was even necessary because this is to a building, building a brand new building.
It was a commercial
I
business.
do have an EAF filled out I could give you, but he said, because I was gonna go ahead and get all that done before this meeting, and he said he didn't even think we should do that because these buildings, they already existed. He said, we are changing doors and we're put a new roof on it, and it is different, but it's still the same building, it's the same structure.
So to be fair, what was presented to the town is different than the building that was there. If you have the EAF and you're willing to provide that, we are requesting that at this point. So if you want to give that to Jason.
Can I make some more clarification on this again too? So that is an alteration. Because you are required to pull a permit for redoing a roof, windows and doors, for energy code, for our climate.
Well, just like any homeowner.
Not a home. Falls under ag and markets, right? It's still a horse barn. It's still a barn. I'm exempt from all of that until it becomes a venue or until it becomes a commercial building. So I can take a barn and still meet every energy code that's out there and put the most high-end stuff in it. It's still a barn. I'm exempt from your permits.
So if you want to continue to proceed with the appeal, this is the path that we have to go. We need that EAF.
Yep.
We could declare this as a type 2 action.
Just make sure you get the EAF first before.
Exactly. But this is the path that we would be going. You get the EAF to Jason. Once we have that, we can come back, we can declare this as a type 2, we can send this to county, we can set a public hearing so we can hear from the community, your neighbors, and go from there. Jason did recommend if you guys wanted to do the use variance. That's up to you guys.
The use variance, I was told, is a form that very rarely, the form he gave me, doesn't get approved. Very rarely. That's what I was told by attorney,
Our planning board, our zoning board in
they're
town.
like, you don't need to fill this out. You don't fill it out, so. But we'll get you the EAF.
If you guys want to do that. And you always have the right to consult with your attorney, and you can return and discuss this at our next meeting.
Everybody read the letter?
Did we receive that letter? Like I said, we all have jobs during the day. A lot of us got it end of day or whatever, and I did request to have a hard copy so that we can take it and actually go through it. So, but we do have that. We have your letter, the attorney's letter, and now we have Mr. Shimolewski's. So we will digest all of that. Sorry. And we'll have more conversation at our next meeting. Thank
You had presented tonight, can we get a copy of that?
Yeah, I can give you a copy. I'll email it to you tomorrow with the EAF.
Okay.
So that you know what
We
to
have it
fill
yet.
out.
We have it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I gotta find my agenda. Does anyone on the board have any other questions? Okay.
Any questions for me?
We did receive a lot of new information this evening, so, compile it. Any questions? Ring. Any questions for council? He's always readily available. So feel free to email him or reach out to him, as far as that goes. Okay, back to, our public hearing, which is still open. So I don't know if anyone else from the public wanted to speak on behalf of that. Mr. Terrell, would you like to come back?
Yeah.
Okay. So we as the board, we have two options. We keep this public hearing open, or we close it. We have not heard from county, so we don't have their recommendations. So I agree, the public.
Everybody would have been here if they wanted to.
I agree.
So I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any further discussion on it? Motion carries. Okay, so that is closed. There's really nothing else. We can't do anything else on that until we hear back from Albany County. But thank you for coming and speaking on behalf, and thank you to those from the community that came out and spoke and asked questions. Does the board have anything else?
Jeremy, once you get approval, how long do you think before you start?
I think 2 months is realistic to start construction. I mean, I guess the biggest constraint we have right now would be hunting season and then the winter. So I would say
Springtime?
conservatively spring, maybe March or April.
And I just want to remind for the public, we changed our October meeting and a notice was published. So our current meeting,
Is that the 6th?
so it's supposed to be on the 14th. We are rescheduling it to October 6th. And notice went out, so, but I just wanted to air that to the public again, just for notification purposes. Any other business? Anyone have any other discussion? Okay. Good.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll make a motion to close tonight's meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Adjourned.